First, a quick review of scientific experiments, key elements. We have to make a comparison. We can't just give some people multivitamins and say, hey, they prevented colds. We need to see what happened if they didn't get them. That's why the variables are important. They need to be fair. We need to control all those other potential variables that might make people get colds or prevent them from getting colds. We need to do this lots of times, lots of samples, many trials, and we need to measure our results empirically, always measuring something. Why is this important, by the way? I mean, why am I making such a big deal? We've been doing some of this since the first week of class. Well, it's actually part of your degree. If you get a degree from YVC, then this is one of the things we evaluate. That we want to know, do you know how to science, basically? And if you're going into the healthcare field, you may never do a scientific experiment, but you should realize or recognize good science when you see it. All right, well, let's take that example. Do multivitamins prevent colds? So we got this idea. Do you take multivitamins? Does it keep you from getting a cold? So the vitamins are independent variable, and whether or not people get colds are dependent variables. We are going to measure both of these things because there are variables. Variables are the things usually that you measure. All right, well, that takes care of that detail. And, for the essay, you can just list it. Independent variable, vitamins, dependent variable, whether or not people get colds. There's a lot more to go, though. How do we actually design the study? Well, we need to take into account things like gender and a few other sort of demographic bits. How might we do that? Well, let's just take a stadium full of women. I mean, we want a big sample size, right? Let's take the freshman class coming in to Arizona State University. A lot of studies are done on college students, and it's because they're this big cohort, and they're all kind of about the same. So it looks like the stadium is full of all the women, although it doesn't matter. There's a couple approaches to this. We could limit it to basically all men or all women, or we could have some of both. But if we take this group and sort of divide it right down the middle, then we need to make sure that we have roughly an equal number of men and women on each side. All right, let's say that we're going to give the multivitamin to this group and not to this group over here. Well, we need to make sure that the only difference is whether or not they're getting the multivitamin. What else should we take into account? Age? Hey, perfect. This is pretty much taken care of. They're all about the same age, just a freshman class. Body size. Well, that definitely can affect people's health. Really a common variable we want to control. One way of looking at that is through BMI. Let's say we take body mass index between 20 and 30, just a narrow range. We could narrow it down more, but that's kind of overly restrictive. This would, throw out people that are overly thin or overly overweight, or even bodybuilders. So limit the size of the group. Race, again, we could accept people of just one race, or if we accept a diversity of races, then it's, again, make sure that both of these sides are equally represented. We don't want only people of color in this group and only white people in this group, or any other combination. We want to make sure it's pretty even. If we have a large enough sample size, that takes care of it. I'm not sure how many people are in this group, but I'm thinking, it's several thousand individuals. So I think we should be in pretty good shape with a sample size like that. Well, that's the demographics. What other sort of stuff should we control? Time. Yeah, it should be taking place over the same time frame. We don't want a summer versus winter study. Perfect. Incoming freshmen, they're all the same time and the same location. So they're not in different cities or anything else. They might be in different dorms, but there's enough people that that's going to be okay. Diet. How do we control that? Hey, they're all on the same campus. You sign up for this, you get free meals. And remember, this is a spare no expense. So don't limit yourself in terms of what is, easy or possible. Just go big. We're going to provide them all free meals. That's part of their incentive for participating. We control what those meals are so they look about the same. Exercise. you sign them all up for the same PE class. So we make sure that they're all getting a certain amount of exercise per week, nothing crazy. You're a student athlete, I'm sorry you can't be part of this study. Or maybe we analyze you separately. So there's the big idea. There's our setup and all our controlled variables, probably even more than you really need to report to me. Key thing, going back to the beginning, is did we measure this? Well, that's easy enough. You send one group the vitamins, and the other group you send a placebo pill. You'd have to have some sort of introduction on how that happens. I'm not asking for those details in this. And then measuring colds, maybe a weekly check-in or a monthly check-in with the campus nurse. Maybe we only do this during the school year. We do it for all 4 years. But you have to have somebody saying, are they sick? Do they have really the symptoms of a cold? And is it a cold or is it something else? And then repetition, well, we already have that in terms of the sample size, but we could do this, for the class of 2022. We could do it again for the class of 2023, and we could do it again for the class of 2024. So we could just keep repeating this experiment, and what we're going to do in the end is compare, group A that got the vitamins versus group B. Is there a difference in the percentage of people that get cold or how frequently they do?